Welcome to the Leverage Show. Get more from your business and your life. Today, I want to share with you 5 steps to hire the best freelance and outsource talent the first time around. Now, if you have any questions or issues with your business, please share them with me at leverageshow.com and I'll answer them for you on future episodes. Outsourcing is a great way to grow your business. It's a great way to do it without the expense and the hassle of hiring full-time employees. The problem with outsourcing is that most people that try it fail miserably up front. The first few times that they try to do it, they think it's a lot easier than it really is, and they make some pretty big mistakes, end up wasting a ton of time, a ton of money, and then needing to start all over again anyway. So I want to share with you 5 things that you can do to make sure the first time out of the gate you are able to hire the right kind of outsourcers. Now, the great thing is there is pretty good outsourced talent in a lot of different skill areas. So depending on what kind of professional you're looking for, you can get everything from obviously development in terms of computer programming, you can get customer support, you can get technical support, marketing, graphics, video, audio, just about anything. Obviously, website design and webmastering and all other sorts of things like that. But you can also get artists, and you can get writers, and you can get marketing people, social media people. There's a ton of different stuff you can outsource. It also gives you a way to grow your business with less exposure. Because if you're not sure your business is going to be doing that long term, or that you could afford somebody full time, you can always start that way. And then you'll be able to ramp it up if it grows. So when I'm talking about outsourcers and freelancers, I'm talking about somebody that you hire in one of 2 ways. Either by the hour, and you pay them by the hour for the work that they do, or the other option is by project. And so customer support is somebody you'd pay by the hour, because it's going to depend on how many hours they log. But if you need somebody to create a new logo and a new website for your company, that's something where you would actually pay them by the project, because then you're not paying unnecessarily for hours and maybe they're not quite working as fast as they should. If you do this right, it can not only be extremely beneficial from the perspective of freedom. It frees up a lot of time, it gives you a lot of extra bandwidth, but it also can be very profitable because you're spending money, but it allows you to be able to make more money depending on what you're doing. So let's jump into the 5 steps. And I'm going to start by assuming you don't have a candidate in mind. If you already have candidates in mind, or you already have a pool to draw from, then you can still use the exact same thing. You just skip the first couple of steps. But assuming that you don't, and so you go on to like Upwork.com or freelancer.com or any of the other sites to hire a freelancer, the first thing when you post your project, you want to give as much specific detail as you can. So that way the person that you're going to get is going to be a good match. You can put stuff about your company culture, the responsibilities, the full set of skills that they're going to need to be successful. But once you've started to get candidates coming in, you're going to get a lot of applicants for a lot of the jobs. The first thing that you want to do is eliminate the price outliers. Now, I don't mean just eliminate anybody who's high priced. What I mean is any outlier. So if this job is something where the vast majority of candidates are saying it's going to be $11 an hour, right? And then you're getting some saying $3 an hour and some saying $28 an hour. You can pretty much get rid of all the really high and really low ones. That's just low-hanging fruit that it's easy to get rid of. The low price is most likely either not qualified or not going to do a very good job. The high price, while they may be great, is probably too ridiculously high to make it make sense for you financially to do it. So you can eliminate the price outliers right away. And then you sort of cull it down to a group of people that's more in the same price range. Now, be very careful not to just eliminate anybody that's a little bit higher in price, because a lot of the times what you'll find is the lowest price isn't always the best value. A lot of times those people are not. So eliminate the obvious ones. The second thing is to verify their skills and their job history or experience is a match. This is actually might sound like common sense, but it's more important than you may think, because a lot of people will apply for jobs they're completely unqualified for. You see they've got great feedback, they look good, the price is right, and all this other stuff. But then you look at the job description and you look at their skills, and they might have a couple of the skills, but they're missing some. Then you look at their job description and they've been in a totally different job role the last 5 years. You can take a chance on somebody like that, but you're not really doing yourself a service. You're sort of stacking the deck against you before you get going. So eliminate anybody that doesn't have relevant work experience. They haven't actually done the job. And certainly if they don't have the skills. If you want a Photoshop expert and the person's like, well, I'm great with graphics and I do Corel and I've done this other stuff, they're close, but they don't have the main software package that you need them to be able to use. So you're going to be paying a lot of money for a learning curve for no reason. It's not an obscure software package no one's ever heard of. You're going to be able to find Adobe professionals. So the second step is to verify the skills and job history and experience matches. The third thing is to read their feedback and ratings. Now, when I say read them, I mean read them. Not just look at how many stars they got. Obviously, if somebody doesn't have good reviews and good feedback, I eliminate them right away. Because again, all you're doing is asking for trouble. Might they do your job well? Sure. Is it a huge risk? You bet. And you want to go with as certain a play up front as you possibly can. There's no magic formula, but you can get really close if you do it the right way. So read the feedback, see what people say, because sometimes the feedback is fluff. Sometimes people will say things like, oh, this person, met all my deadline or something like that, or this person communicates well. That's great, but that doesn't tell you anything about their quality of work. If they're not giving there's no indications that the person did a good job on the project. If they don't have a lot of repeat work from the same clients, these are red flags. These tell you that maybe their quality of work isn't good. Some outsourcers and freelancers are very wise, and they will do things like tell the employer, don't leave feedback for me until you know it can be 5 stars. So tell me what I need to do. Great. They're trying to be flexible, but they're also making sure that everything shows 5 stars. So make sure you actually read the comments and the feedback. It's very easy for an employer who's done with somebody to just give them a high rating to get rid of them. Okay? So that's the important part about that. Here's where the rubber starts to meet the road. The first 3 things are somewhat common sense. They'll help you. They'll get you in the right direction. But 4 and 5 are where it really matters. Step 4 is to start a dialogue. 100% of the time, start a dialogue with your candidate before you hire them. Because this is what it's going to do. If a candidate that wants your job is not able to be responsive when you're reaching out to ask questions or clarify things before you've hired them, you've got no shot once they get on board. They're going to disappear. They're going to bill you for hours that they never worked, and it's going to be a big mess. Make sure they're going to engage. Now, you need to be reasonable about this. If you send them a message and it's midnight their local time, they may not respond for 8 hours. That's okay. But if if 24, 48, 72 hours go by and they haven't responded, get rid of them. That person is not somebody who you're going to be able to count on when it matters. So you start a dialogue, and it can be about anything. Ask them about a job that they've done. Ask them how they'd approach a problem in the task that you're going to give them. Ask them what is specific to elaborate on their experience that they've had in the particular type of job that you're looking for. This not only helps you validate whether or not they're responsive and going to be responsible when you hire them, it also helps you evaluate their communication skills and their mindset. You're going to get a sense, do they really understand what I'm looking for? Can they communicate? Are we going to be able to see eye to eye on what we're talking about? So you're going to get a good sense of the chemistry, and it starts to establish the relationship early, which is good. That transitions you into step 5, and this happens after you make the hire. Once you've narrowed it down and you feel you've got the right candidate, make the hire and then make sure that right away you are very available. Skype, instant message, texting, phone, whatever. Make sure you're available a lot in the very beginning. This is a pain in the neck, but it will get easier because the thing is they're going to have questions. And if it's somebody who's good and it's somebody who's committed and wants to do the job and you're not there to answer questions, they're not just going to sit there and bill you hours. They're going to quit. They're going to disappear and go find another job because it's not fulfilling. They're not getting anything back from you. And then you're going to say, well, they were a flake, or you just give them a job description and then you say, okay, you're all set because I gave you the job. They're going to have questions. It's natural. You've got to be there for the onboarding process. Be really engaged, check in, give them small milestones. If they're creating a new website for you, have them do part of a page and then say, or maybe one page, not the front page, and say, okay, show it to me. Go look at it. Yeah, this is good. I don't like that. Can you fix this? You're going to get a sense right away. Does this person have the skills and the right approach? Do they see it the same way I see it? Or are we on totally different planes? Then you limit your exposure, you limit your financial expense, and you limit their, problem as well. I mean, they're not going to be happy if they're working for you and you're not happy. So make sure you're available and just tell them, listen, I'm hiring you to make my job easier. I'm there for you in the beginning to make sure you get comfortable and that you understand what you need. And I'll always be there if you have questions. But I'm relying on you to become self-reliant and to become independent. So that way you can make notes when you ask me questions so you don't have to ask the same things over and over again. And then you'll get, better and better and more efficient at the job. You'll need me less. That'll be the great working relationship that I'm looking for. So those are 5 steps that if you follow those, you will find you have a much greater success. I can't tell you the number of times people I know, including myself, have made bad hires because I fell in love with the idea of outsourcing and how liberating it would be and didn't go through the process of taking the time to do it right. You think, oh, it's relatively cheap. It's a relatively low commitment. I'm not hiring them full time as a permanent employee. Boom, let's just hire 3-4 people, get them rolling, and we're all set. Now I can go and, go play golf today instead. Does not work that way. You will get burned. You will waste a ton of money. But if you do it the right way, you can eventually get to that golf course in a little bit earlier time. So just make sure that when you're outsourcing that you understand that cheapest is not always the best. And in fact, in my experience, most of the time it's not. Usually someone in the middle area, price-wise, is usually the right marriage of skills and cost. Because this is not about cost. This is about value. It's about return on investment. So if they generate more than they spend, it doesn't matter if you pay them $100 an hour. If they generate 105, that's a profit center for you, not a cost center. And I don't want you to end up wasting time and money and then needing to go back and redo it all over again. So remember, if you have questions or comments, be sure to share them with me at Leverage Show. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. Like it, share it, do all that good stuff. And until next time, make it happen.